Hi, Peter. Today we're on page 105, and we're going to talk about how to estimate products. And the story problem starts out, the Smith family opens the door of their refrigerator 32 times in one day. There are 31 days in May. About how many times is it opened in May? And it says underline the information that you'll need to use. Well, I don't have that part clipped, but tell me, what information do we need to use? We need to underline that the doors opened 32 times in one day. And there are 31 days in May. That's the information that we're going to use. And so you need to underline that. All right, now we're going to figure out what the answer is. And so this is one way that we can figure it out. Rounding and mental math. So if we look at 32 and 31, they both can be rounded to 30, right? That'll tell us about how much that it is. So 30 times 30 would equal what? 9. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, and then we have 2 zeros there. So it's going to equal 900. 30 times 30 would equal 900. So the Smith family opens the refrigerator door about 900 times during the month of May. And the reason that we could estimate that, we are estimating on this page. Estimating means to find about the right number. And so this is the next problem. On average, a refrigerator door is opened 38 times each day. How many fewer times in May is the family's refrigerator door opened than the average refrigerator door? Okay, so on average, the refrigerator door is opened 38 times each day. And how many days were there in May? There's 31. Okay, so we could estimate this. What is 38 almost? 38 is almost 40, isn't it? So we can change it to 40 times, and 31 is almost 30. So we can take 30 times 40, and we can take it down to the basic fact is 4 times 3 equals 12, right? And then to do 40 times 30, we would just have to add, we'd have 12 with 2 zeros. Okay, 1,200. Now, there's one more step that we have to do because it said how many fewer. And so what does that mean if we hear the word fewer? What kind of problem do you think we're going to do? We're going to subtract, aren't we? Because we need to find how much fewer is one than the other. So this is how much theirs is up there, remember? So we're going to see how much fewer it is, how much less. So to do that, we'll subtract. Okay, and 0, 0, and that is 3, right? So our answer is 300 times fewer. Okay. All right, let me see if I can change the page while in here. All right. Okay, so here is our new page to talk about. So you can turn your page. And the new problem says all 24 light bulbs in the Park family's home are CFL light bulbs. Each CFL light bulb uses 28 watts to produce light. How many watts will the light bulb use when turned on all at the same time? Okay, so to figure out this problem, we're going to do 24 times 28. And last time we estimated. And this time we're going to use compatible numbers to help us figure it out. And compatible numbers are numbers that are easy to compute mentally. So 24 isn't as easy to compute as fives are. So we could have 25, and that's pretty easy. And then, of course, 28, we could just change to 30 because that would be easier. And we can think of this as like 25 times 3. So if you remember about quarters, those deal with 25s. So if we sing the dollar song, how many quarters is 3 25 cents? It goes 25, 50, 75. So if 3 times 25 is 75, then what would 25 times 30 be? We just have to add that 0 on again, and it would be 750 watts were used. Okay, so now try this. It says estimate 26 times 79. And it says round to the nearest 10. Okay, so let's look at this one. And this has a 6 here. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score. So we need to raise this score because this is a 6, right? So this would become 30. And let's look at this number. 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, raise the score. 9 is bigger than 5. So we're going to raise the score. So this would be 80. Okay? And then, so think 3 times 8. 3 times 8 is 24. And then how many zeros? 1, 2. So we're going to have 2 zeros here. So 26 times 79 is about 2,400. Okay? All right. Now, let's think about the same problem using compatible numbers. Compatible numbers, again, are numbers that are easy to do in your head. So here we have 26. Let's just make it a 25 because 25s are easy to compute. And 79 is about 80. So let's do that and think, how can you use 25 times 4 equals 100 to help you find 25 times 8. Well, 8 is what? Is 8 twice as much as 4? So if we know that 25 times 4 equals 100, that's the dollar sign, right? 25, 50, 75, $1. Then that would be twice as much, wouldn't it? But we're not doing 25 times 8. We're doing 25 times 80. So you got to make sure that we get that last 0 on there. And so it's about 2,000. So you see, you could round both of these problems with either compatible numbers or rounding to the nearest 10. Explain why 2,400 and 2,000 are both reasonable estimates. Did you think about that yet? Both products use numbers close to the original number. So they're reasonable. All right, let's see here if we can do another one. All right, this says, in what situation might you choose to find an estimate rather than an exact number? I don't think I'll write this down. I'll just talk with you about this. Why do you think that there might be a time when you wouldn't find the exact answer, you'd use an estimate? I might decide how many sandwiches to make for a school picnic. And maybe you wouldn't need to know exactly, but you would want to have a ballpark of how much you'd need. And so you could estimate for that. All right. Let's see here. Oh, number 1. To estimate the product of 62 and 28 by rounding, how would you round the factors? What would the estimate be? Okay, so 60 would become what? 62 would become, I gave it away, didn't I? Would become 60. And 28 would become 30, right? And then you do 60 times 30, or 6 times 2, and 6 times 3, and that is 18 with how many zeros? All right? We will do these together. Here, I will snip it so that I can write on this page. Okay. Then I'm going to let you do the on your own yourself. Except maybe we'll look at the story problems just in case you might have trouble. Okay, so it says estimate the product. Choose a method. Okay, well neither of these are really close to 25 or numbers like that might be compatible that I can think of. So, well, I guess this is kind of close. I guess if you wanted to use compatible numbers, this is kind of close to 100, isn't it? And this is kind of close to 35. Oops. And so what would that be? 3,500, right? Would be that way of doing it. Now let me show you another way to do it. Okay. Another way to do it would be to say, raise the score. So it would be 100. And this is pretty easy too, actually. This is the estimate way. So this would actually get you closer to the real answer. So this way is probably better. But that's about 30, isn't it? Because it's not over 5. So 100 times 3 is 300. And then times 30 would be 3,000. Okay, let's do the next one together. The next one is 47 times 39. And I'm going to go ahead and just round these. So 47, raise the score, so it would become 50, times 39 is almost 40, and so 5 times 4 is 20, and how many zeros? So our answer would be 2,000. Okay, so now we're going to estimate this. 5 or more, raise the score. So I'm going to raise the score. And this would be 80, right? 80. 80 times 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. This is a 2. So this would remain 70. Okay, now 7 times 8 is 56, right? How many zeros? 1, 2. So 1, 2, and our answer is 5,600. I hope this is an easy page for you, Peter. I think that it will be. You can do these on your own. Now, this here looks like it's a little different. It says find 2 possible factors for the estimated product. So if you take off, the easiest way to do this is if you pretend that those zeros aren't there. Then here, I will clip it here so that I can write on this. I want a new one, and we'll just talk about this. Okay. So if you pretend those zeros aren't there, you got to remember your math facts here and think what times what equals 28. Oh, I didn't want all that. Okay. What times what equals 28? Well, do you remember 4 times 7? 4 times 7 is 28. So we have to come up with some numbers here that we'd estimate to be about that. So if we had 42, we would estimate it as 40, wouldn't we? And if we had 70, let's say 71, we would also round it to 70. 70 times 40 would equal this number here. So let's do one more together just to make sure that you understood. So let's think about this on what factors could equal that. Can you think of anything that equals 81? I can think of 9 times 9, right? So now let's think of any number we want that would round to 90 to get this with the zeros, right? We need two numbers that round to 90. So I could do 91, and that would round down to 90, couldn't I? And I could also do 89, and that would round up to 90. And so then we'd have, when we round, we'd have 90 times 90. That would equal this. I hope you understand how to do that. I want to leave the others for you to do. So let's just continue to look at your page here. Why don't we take a look at the hot, because sometimes that can be tricky. It says, what's the question? The estimate of two numbers that are not multiples of 10 is 28,000. 2,800. 2,800. Okay. So, can you think of what numbers? This is basically like what I just talked to you about, isn't it? You got to think about what two numbers, cross out these zeros, think about what two numbers could equal 28. And I'm thinking of 4 times 4 times what? 4 times 7, right? So you need to write down which two possible numbers we would be able to estimate and get 40 times 70. Okay? Just like we did on that other problem up there. So that shouldn't be too hard. Good luck to you, Peter, and I hope you do a good job and that you're having a good week.